So tonight we've got chapter 8, Wheelie William. Life for William changed after that day. It happened slowly at first, just little things. He noticed that some of his friends stopped offering to wheel him up the ramp into school in the mornings, and no one could help him pick up his pencil when it dropped on the floor or rolled out of reach. Then, as the weeks went by, no one would sit with him at lunchtime. Whatever table he wheeled himself to would quickly empty. He would have to eat his sloppy school dinner alone. But so, he found that he would become what was commonly known as a loner, Billy No Mates. The weird with the wheels, and all down to Brenda. As I'm sure you can imagine, this made William very sad. He used to be so popular, but now all the other normal kids in his school had normal legs, would call him names like Wheelie William and William. One particularly nasty person, Brenda Payne, of course, went that one step further and made up a little song that went like this. Wheelie William can't walk around, Wheelie William rolls all the ground. He can't kick a ball, he can't run fast, he can't play with us, he just rolls on past. Wheelie William goes whizzing down the street, Wheelie William has rocks for feet. He can't climb trees, he doesn't walk, Wheelie William, you don't want to talk. Wheelie William sitting in a chair, Wheelie William rolls everywhere. He can't do jumps, he can't even stand. To go upstairs, he uses a ramp. It wasn't long before Brenda's nastiness was infected the whole school, like a disease that had turned everyone into William-hating zombies. The children who used to be his friends now treated him like he wasn't one of them anymore, like he didn't belong there, like he was smelly or something. The whole thing about Brenda was that she wasn't like other bullies. Most bullies are stupid, jealous, jelly brains, but not Brenda Payne. Brenda was smart, as she was pretty, and she used both of those things to get whatever she wanted. She wasn't the strongest kid in the playground. In fact, there were plenty of children who could easily have knocked her perfect teeth out if they wanted, but Brenda had a way of making those kids not want to. She didn't need to punch kids or steal things, although she did both of those things regularly, because if she wanted, she could bully you with just a look. She only needed to glance at William, and it sent shivers running through him, which made him feel completely and utterly pathetic. Since the day William had accidentally rolled over her foot, it was as if it was making his life hell had become Brenda's only purpose in life. She would sneak up behind him during class and stick pins in his wheelchair tyres so that they went flat. As winter settled in, she started coming to school an hour early to pour water on the wheelchair ramp, so that by the time William arrived, it was covered in solid ice and he couldn't get up it at all, meaning the teachers had to lift him up the stairs. Completely humiliating. But Brenda Payne's speciality was her throw. Of course, William had known exactly how to face smashing accurately Brenda's throw was since his first day at school, when she launched a handful of horrible slop at his head. He has a perfect expert aim, could hit her target from an impressive distance. She'd use her skill to hurl sticks like a javelin from the far side of the playground straight into the spoke of William's wheels. They'd jam the wheels and suddenly his wheelchair would stop, but William wouldn't. He'd carry on going, bouncing along the ground on his bottom to the sound of laughter from Brenda Payne's army of pain. That's the name William gave them to his old friends. After that happened 5 times, William had a seatbelt fitted to his wheelchair, so at least he wouldn't fall out. Before, William used to happily slip out of bed into his wheelchair and whiz off to school, but those days were gone. Now he would wake up, look at his chair, sigh a deeply miserable sigh, and think to himself, what a rotten thing is she going to do today? But for all the rotten things Brenda did to William, the worst of all was about to come one snowy Friday afternoon at the beginning of December. The very day that the Christmasaurus was feeling glum far away in the North Pole. In fact, she didn't use sticks or pins. She used the most powerful weapon of all, words. Her teacher, Mrs. Dripplepot, was popped out to the loo, and as Brenda never missed an opportunity to make William's life miserable, as soon as the door clicked shut, a shiny black stapler flew across the classroom, straight at William's head. William tried to block it as his exercise book, but the force of the throw was so strong that the boot smacked him straight in the face and the stapler stapled it to his forehead. The noise that followed sounded like a laughter bomb exploding in the classroom. That's when William felt it happening. He couldn't stop it. The worst thing possible, he began to cry. "Are you crying?" asked Brenda in a huge evil smile expanding across her pretty face. "No," lied William, quickly wiping the tears from his cheeks and plucking the staple out of his forehead. "Excuse me. You are, aren't you? Really crying, everyone?" "Well," Brenda called out, and the laughter level doubled. It wasn't that anyone actually found it funny. It was because they were scared not to laugh. cry, baby," Brenda chanted. "Why don't you go crying to your mummy?" The whole room suddenly fell silent. Whispers of "Brenda didn't know" quickly circled the classroom. "Know what?" Brenda demanded. "He doesn't have a mum," called Freddie, the tallest kid in the class, from the back of the room. "You don't have a mum?" asked Brenda. "He lives with his dad," yelled Lola, one of William's pre-Brenda friends. Brenda paused for a moment. Then with a smile grew back. "Well, it's your dad's I feel sorry for," she said casually, twiddling a pencil around in her perfectly curly, twirly hair. "I mean, imagine having to live with Wheelie William. It's hard enough going to school with him. It must be so difficult for your poor daddy, pushing you around everywhere on his own. You must feel like you're just such a lump of uselessness. I know I would if I were like you. Thank goodness I'm not." William bit his lip hard, trying to stop himself from shouting something horrible back at her. He knew only tears would come out if he tried. "And I'm not surprised your dad looks so lonely all the time. He's the loony one who wears those awful Christmas jumpers all year round, right? I bet he still believes in Santa, like a little baby. I mean, who on earth would ever marry him? Christmas jumpers and Wheelie William? Who would ever want to be your mum?" With those final awful words, she stretched her legs out and gave a pretend yawn. The stunned silence was only broken with Mrs. Dripplepot returning from the loo. That afternoon, when the school bell rang and it was time to go home, William couldn't help hearing Brenda's words over and over again in his head. He looked out through the front gates of the school and saw mums and dads waiting happily for their children, skipping across the playground towards them. Then he saw his dad, his tired-looking dad. Mr. Trundle was standing alone on one side of the road, wearing his favourite Christmas jumper. He'd knitted it himself, while all the other parents were nattering away in a big group. As William wheeled closer, he heard them say things like, "Great pot roast the other night, Jackie. Looking forward to Christmas party, Pete. I'll see you at the run tomorrow then, Jenny." William looked from one happy family to another, and a strange feeling swirled around his stomach, like water going down a plug hole. The feeling was emptiness. He had never noticed it before, but now that he had felt it, it's almost certain it was always been there. "Hello, son," Mr. Trundle said with a smile. But William was so full of his newfound emptiness that he just wheeled past Mr. Trundle and didn't say a word. Was Brenda right? Was Mr. Trundle really lonely? Why wasn't his friends with all the other parents? William couldn't remember the last time Mr. Trundle had gone to a party or out for a walk or even had a cup of coffee with anyone. Why had he never married again after William's mother had passed away? Lots of kids in William's class had stepmothers and stepfathers. Was it all because of William and the way he was? Would anyone ever want to be the mother of a boy like him? William had never felt so different, so lonely, so guilty. Brenda had planted those awful words with rotten seeds in William's brain, and they were beginning to grow into rotten thoughts. Thoughts that Brenda was about to spectacularly interrupt. See you tomorrow night for the next chapter.